Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining War of Supremacy. War of Supremacy is a 2 to 5 player game that revolves around playing a lot of cards. It is the main mechanism on it is a King of the Hill kind of mechanism. This game, I believe, will be launching on Kickstarter around about the time when this video lands. I think it's around the mid of this week, maybe the 20th of February 2018. So if you're interested in this, please go ahead and have a look at the campaign and think about backing that. So, War of Supremacy is a card game where you have two choices of decks of cards that you'll select from. You'll then, from that hand, you'll pull together your strongest ability to battle or to defend the territory. There's one territory available on the board. First person will put out their strongest pack of creatures that they can, and there's certain rules about which groupings you can put together to what that strength is. And then they will stay there, and if you are defending the territory when it gets back to your round, you take that territory as a point. The first player to either 2 or 3 territories, depending on the number of players at the table, will win the game. Pure King of the Hill. So everyone else at the table is battling one person until that person is defeated. Then everyone is battling the new person who's holding it. If you go on and watch the videos, this is a bit of a prototype of the game. It's actually quite a well manufactured prototype, but it's a prototype nonetheless. So there will be some discrepancies, especially in the wording on cards and things like that, as rules have shifted and changed since I was handed the prototype to do videos of. And there may well be some rules or mechanisms that are slightly dated by the time you get to a final version of the game. So assuming it funds and I get a full version of the game, I'll likely do another video or a couple of videos to just confirm exactly what the details are. So if you're looking at this after it's had an actual publication, please have a look onto the newer videos. This is an interesting game. It's not the style of game that I will normally come at. It's not my main game type because it's all about attacking. The entire mechanism of it is attacking. I'm not so much of an attacking kind of player, kind of guy. So it doesn't sit right in my wheelhouse, but I still enjoyed playing it. I played it as 2-player. When you're playing 2-player, you've got to hold the territory for 2 rounds. So your opposition gets 2 chances to take you out. And look, that was an okay game, and I've played it 5-player, and that was a much more hectic game. I will say that at the 5-player play count, there's a lot of downtime because people take a lot of time to think through what they're going to do, and you can't really think ahead too much because by the time you've thought through what you're going to do to that player, their strength's probably shifted and you have to try something else. Or someone else has taken over a new territory, or someone else has taken over the territory, and you've got to, so you've really got to kind of play at the time. The other thing I noticed is you've got creature cards and spell cards. Creature cards are really good to stock up on them when you're getting ready to attack a territory, but once you're in a territory, you really need to have the spell cards because that's your only way to defend that territory on top of what you've already got in there. And so making those choices, I really like the choice, and you can decide, I want to stock up on creature or I want to stock up on spell. If you don't play anything, you can draw 3 cards instead of 2. That's really cool. I like that. It gives you a chance to build up your hand. One of the things I noticed us doing during the 5-player game was that I had a hand, because there's a rule in there that says if you have 10 cards in your hand, you don't draw any more cards at the end of your turn. If you've got 9, you can draw 2 cards, or you can draw 3 if you don't play anything, which is great. But if you've got 10 cards in your hand and none of them are helpful, what I noticed us doing was actually playing cards down into the battle just to get them out of our hand. And so some of them might have had some skills on them that would deplete someone else's actions or what they can do, or would take out some of the strength of the player so someone else is able to then step in. And that kind of works, but it was an interesting little idea on how to fix your hand if you're not able to play anything or you don't think you can play anything, because at least you can prepare for future rounds by getting rid of stuff to give yourself space to take more stuff in. The other thing is there's spells. In the 5-player game especially, there's a bit of discrepancy over player order, I guess, or the order of events. So player A might play a pack of creatures down to take out this other pack. This player can then play a spell to counter that. Then this player can play another one. But while that's all going on, someone else at the table is able to throw their spells in if they think that's going to help to knock them out, and they'll be able to take out this new set of creatures. So there's it kind of works out, but there's a bit of a discrepancy, and I think it's one of those things that comes up a lot in this type of game that has the ability to throw spells at each other, that there's no specific order in which events need to happen. The last set of rules that I got sent does clean that up a little bit, but I think in the midst of play, it just kind of works out. And I think it's one of those things that people can tend to get caught up on if they want to be rules lawyers. But if they just sit back and actually allow the game to play out in the order in which cards come out, it just works anyway. So it's not a huge problem for me. It's just something to be aware of. That was one of the issues that the larger player count game had. Other things that we came across, I sent messages to the designer, and as they were happening, just to get confirmations, and he said, oh, that's an old rule, that's been fixed. So some of the elements that I came up against that weren't great had already been fixed, and that's really cool. I like that it's still in a process of development and getting there. And so I think that the final product will be slightly more streamlined than what you'll see in the videos, but it'll give you a really good idea of the game and how it plays, how you can play against each other. I must say, even though the 5-player game, it went long. It went long because everyone's really focused on thinking, I think this game will probably hit its stride at 3 or 4 players rather than the 5-player count. But if you want to play 5 players, there is some extra stuff in the back of the rulebook to manipulate the length of the game or how the game's played to reduce that playtime potentially. But that's okay. The 5-player game, we still had fun. One player felt hugely picked on, which is probably the reason I don't like this style of game, is because someone ends up feeling like they've just been picked on for an hour or two, and that's not fun for them. It's hilariously fun for everyone else, not fun for them. I don't like that at a table. That's just me. You may love that style of gameplay. There are dice included in this game. I don't know why. Yeah, there's a couple of rules or cards that say roll a die, but I don't know if we need a die per person. One would probably do it. But that's just me and looking at the economics of game production. If extra dice are being thrown in and everyone loves dice, awesome. But that's, once again, just me. And if you've been watching my videos before, you'll know I've got a love-hate thing going on with dice. Dice in this particular case, they're not used a lot. And so, yeah, they're there, they're a thing. I don't love them, I don't hate them in this game. It's just a thing that might happen once or twice per game. So I'm not too concerned about those. The overall experience of this game was pleasurable. I have enjoyed playing this game the couple of times that I've played it. If you grind into the mechanisms, it's not my style of game. If you grind into the mechanisms, I can see that it really is the style of game for other players. So look, have a look at it, see what you think about it. There's a few other elements on the production of this game that I appreciate, but I'm not sure how far to take it, because the way it's presented is there's 5 different factions, and when you're setting up your deck at the start, it basically says you can use as much or as little of this as you like. It gives you an idea of use these 4 factions and these couple of spell cards in your initial deck for the first game to get a feel for it, and that's what I've used in the videos. But there's also a whole bunch of other cards. We're only using about maybe 3/4 of the cards that have been presented to us, and I think if you know the game, you'll be able to kind of go, oh, this is a much more fun game, or manipulate the deck to your liking. I don't know if I actually like that. I think that I would prefer a game to come and say, this is what you're going to use. Like, I don't mind the different factions so you can switch them out, that's fine, but then having, it feels a little bit wishy-washy, for the want of a better expression, at the beginning of the rules to say, just select whichever cards you want to use. That doesn't sit right with me. But, once again, that's just me. I appreciate that the game can be manipulated, but I would like to be told how to have it manipulated. I would like to be told, just use this, or throw all the spells in and just let them be there, or take these out on this player count, or use deck A or deck B, or deck A and C, or something like that might work better for me. But that's just me. Once again, you might appreciate it and just be happy to go along with it. It feels like it's a little bit more from a different background than where I'm coming from, which is why I see this as a bit of a, but other people might just be used to that being the thing. I think if you're a Magic player, you might be used to select your deck kind of ideas, and that's not something that I naturally do in my gaming and my gaming experience. On top of that, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can manipulate the game at the back, and to me it feels like a designer going, I don't know which one of these I prefer, so I'll give everyone the options of all of these. Once again, that's something you might really like. To me, I would prefer to be told how to play the game. This is the way that the game will work best. And look, that might be shifted, it might be adjusted, it might be embraced. I don't know. I'll leave it out there as that's my thoughts, that's what I appreciate, disappreciate, is that a word? It is now, of this game and games in general, really. So, look, I'll leave it with you. Please go on and watch my Gamesplanation and Gamesplays and get a feel for the game. See if you like it. You may really love this style of gameplay. You may really hate it. And I think that that's actually the importance of what these videos are. It's giving you a feel for if you're going to like it or hate it, because I don't want you backing a game, and I hope that any designer doesn't want you backing a game that you're not going to like, because you're going to speak negatively of that game. However, if you're someone who really loves this style of gameplay, you'll probably actually really enjoy this game. I did enjoy it, even though it's not my game style naturally. I don't know how often I will come back to it, but it will be something that will give a bit of a change to the usual Euro styles that I play. So, look, I'll leave it there. If you've got any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you wish to be gamesplayed, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to see what games I've been playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.